Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day. So today we are reacting to Mr. Andrew Tate, the most famous man on earth, as they say these days, being Muslim or converting to Islam recently, which was a big issue where everybody started pranking, saying, no, he did not convert, it's just a publicity stunt. A lot of people said, if he converts to Islam, we'll leave Islam, and everybody else have their own agenda with what's happening. So let's hear the words straight from the horse's mouth and see what's happening.
I wanted to ask you now, because this is the hot topic, especially in the Muslim community, about your conversion.
Yeah.
So tell us the story, like what happened exactly.
Well, I think a lot of people who've been following me for a while understand that I've been very respectful of Islam for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
I was born in a Christian country. I was raised as a Christian, and I've always been very respectful of Islam. And it's become more and more obvious to me and more pertinent that Islam is the last religion on the planet. When I talk about Islam, because I'm new to it,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit careful, right? Because I'm new to it. I'm certainly not a scholar. There's so much I need to learn. I know I'm on a learning journey. I'm not here to sit there and talk scripture. I don't know those things yet. I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
But
And we're here at your assistance.
thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
But, it's just for me, it feels like the last religion on earth. I feel like there's no other religion. People say to me, "Why did you convert?" And I said, "I don't really feel it as a conversion. It's almost like I knew God was real, and now I've become religious." And they say, "Well, you were religious before." I was like, "Religious before how? Christian? What does Christian mean? Like, who's not a Christian? You go to Christian nations, and everyone says they're a Christian. Look how they live their lives. Go into the average church. Is anyone actually fearful of God? Anybody? No. The girls are out on Saturday night drinking, and then they turn up to church because their parents made them. Like, there's no substance to the religion. And also, Islam very closely reflects my personal beliefs. Through my personal life, I've learned that if you don't have standards and you're not a strong person who's prepared to defend his ideas, you will be crushed.
Yes.
And we look at most religions in the world today which are not prepared to defend their ideas. What's happened to them? They're just getting crushed. And now we have Christianity as an idea which has basically said, well, we can't set any firm rules because everyone will just quit. So instead, let's make it so easy to be a Christian that nobody has to put any effort in.
Yeah.
And then accept everybody no matter what, and hopefully we can keep the church doors open. That's not God to me.
I don't know where he got this idea, but it seems to be interesting to me. How did he come up with that conclusion that this is their plan?
No. God to me is strong. God to me is something to be feared.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that people are afraid to mock.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that you have to go out of your way to prove something to. God to me has red lines.
Yeah.
Like, God to me represents the Islamic faith. The Christian God to me, I don't see God. I can't explain. I don't see anything there. So
Yeah.
to me, it was the only logical choice in the end.
Alhamdulillah, man. I mean, as you're saying this, I'm sure many people are like ecstatic and extremely happy. It's a great thing for everyone, honestly.
Yeah, of course, it is a very known figure that becomes a Muslim, which sheds more light to Islam as it does need more light. But I'm saying, like, a lot of people who thought that this person is interesting because of his the things that he promotes about anti-feminism, anti-third wave feminism, what they're trying to empower, this, that, and so on. And then he becomes a Muslim. People would be questioning, why did he become Muslim? So it will bring more light to the religion, I think, in a positive way, I hope.
Because, you know,
Hopefully they don't label us all these misogynist Muslims in the future.
just anyone coming into Islam is the Prophet Muhammad SAW told us better than the world and everything in it.
Yep.
But imagine now somebody of major influence. I mean, you're the most Googled person on the planet. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you still have
Yeah,
the top spot.
I think Putin might have beat me as of last week. But I think it's between me and Putin at the moment.
I never
But
thought
I don't want to lose to Putin. Look, Putin's the big G. I don't want more enemies. Like, it's fine, Vladimir. You can have it.
I never thought I'd hear you saying that statement.
Yeah.
Putin beat me last year.
He's contradicted himself immediately, say, I don't want to lose to Putin, but you can have it, Putin.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're certainly the most Googled.
That's
No,
fair.
it's definitely something beautiful, and a lot of people have. You'll be surprised at how many women as well. Like, because obviously the accusations of misogyny and stuff, which but a lot of women, alhamdulillah, especially in the Muslim world, they're absolutely happy. In fact, let me tell you a story. Just before I came here today, one particular woman, I can't reveal her identity, but she's working as a school teacher
Yep.
in London. And actually, my friend told me that she was kicked out of school
Yep.
because they had this campaign against you in the schools. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I've seen, yeah, this was part of the.
Never heard
conversation.
that.
I did know about this.
Yeah, so in British schools, they said, you know, if you say anything good about if you say anything good about this person, or you have to be reported or prevent and
Clown world.
and if you say anything, you know, you have to kind of combat his extremism or whatever it may be, right? So because when you became Muslim, she abstained from doing that. She said, I can't really do that because, you know, Islamic laws and it's backbiting and he's got honor in Islam and so on. And unfortunately, they fired her from the position.
Wow.
So you can see that this is the level of encroachment we're talking about.
This is crazy. Like, they talk about freedom of speech, they talk about this, they talk about that, and then you are free to say anything that you want. But you can't say anything about this group of people. You can't say anything against woke culture. You can't say anything about this. You can't say anything about that. But you are free to call all Muslim terrorists. You are free to do this. You are free to do that. But anything that does not meet their agenda is not allowed. But if it meets their agenda, you are free to talk. The sky is the limit.
About here. So, and this shows you that the level of fraternity that exists. And not only the fact that, you know, when you're looking at Twitter or whatever social media, it's not a representation of what's really happening on the ground.
True.
Of course. And I mean, that's crazy to hear. And what's most crazy is, yeah, the fervor behind this idea that I'm somehow extremist is truly clown world. Like I've sat as a
I think anybody who stands up behind his moral standard is extremist these days. If you have moral, that you are extreme. If you don't have morals and anything you can say you accept, yeah, you are free going, you are open minded, you are free spirit, you fit to be in the world. Other than that, you're extremist.
professional and analyzed my content and understood which things can be taken out of context and which things were said in a way perhaps they shouldn't have been said before I was massively famous. But we have to sit here and understand that if you take anybody on the planet and give them 7 years of YouTube and then they decide and they blow up big, you're going to be able to find 30 to 45 seconds of clip across all those years that can be taken out of context, right? Yeah. And it's truly crazy because they sit and say, oh yeah, but you know, the young boys are watching your stuff and they don't truly understand all of it and there's nuance that's missing.
That's whose fault? You should not expose young children to social media. Like, I think there should be an age limit for social media because the young boys, or let's say the younger generation, I think this generation anyway, is very easily influenced. They can be dyed with any color. You can tell them the sky is green, and if you give them substance to back your claim, even if it's not true, they would believe you and they start believing the sky is green. And if you argue with them with other means, they will tell you, oh, the sky is green. You can't tell me this, you can't tell me that. I don't know, man. People should respect. There is an age restriction on this, and I believe that people who are younger than 18 or maybe even 21 who have very little background and their personality is not shaped and all of that should not be exposed to bad material on YouTube. I don't know that there is no way to filter the material on YouTube or any other social media. So it's crazy. As we will see in the other videos that I will post related to woke culture on TikTok. But this is the idea itself is crazy.
And my argument is very simple. My argument is, well, one, you're taking small clips out of context. And two, there's not a single piece of content on the internet that a 14-year-old boy can't misunderstand. Name
100%.
Name someone who's producing content on the internet that you would be 100% happy for a 14-year-old to
drill artists, and so they say that. I mean, I live in an area that's, I'm not going to mention the names of the artists, but they're talking about going to this person's house and killing him.
And killing him in the middle of a knife crime epidemic. Yeah. We have Little Nas twerking on having sex with the devil.
That is one of the most disgusting video clips I've seen. You should see that to see what level we have reached.
Devil in his music videos. Like, we're going to sit here and talk about how children can be impressionable young children, and I'm sitting there saying there's no way I'm the worst person on the internet. That's not why they deleted me.
The difference for them is, as you've mentioned, on those fronts, it doesn't matter to them because it's like, okay, they're consuming our hedonistic.
You don't meet their agenda.
It doesn't change their worldview. Whereas what you're saying is ideological now. You're challenging the status quo of the LW, of the liberal world order. You're challenging second wave feministic notions. You are challenging some liberal notions. You are challenging ideas, commonplace ideas of tolerance. And George Orwell said it very well. He said that the more a society moves away from the truth, the more it hates people who speak it.
Absolutely, and you're right. And I think even the basic things I teach, because some people have said to me, Andrew, all you teach about is personal responsibility, motivation, working hard, getting up and doing the right thing. I said, that's the absolute, those are the things they're most afraid of. If you teach people to have standards for themselves and to be morally strong people and to know right from wrong, then they can't brainwash you.
Yeah.
So that's what they're most afraid of. They're most afraid of young men waking up and going, no, I don't.
It's funny because if you watch the actual video of the Russian witch that saying that she can harm people with this and that, she's saying the most difficult targets for her are people who are strong morally, who knows what they want, they have a target and they work towards something in their life. It is not easy to influence them in a bad manner. So yeah, you should be careful of this stuff.
I don't believe that. You have to believe it. No, I don't believe it. I don't want to. And I want to go do this. I want to go to the gym and be strong, or I want to believe X, or I want to be a moral person. They genuinely have a problem with baseline morality.
Yes, yeah.
Understand?
True.
When some people recognize when I converted to Islam that there was a time I was an atheist. There was a time when I was atheistic. And the reason I am now so absolutely certain that God is real is because I've seen evil. I've seen shaitan. I've seen it. When you see enough evil, you realize that there must be an equal and opposite force. And there are people out there in the world today doing the work of the
Smart
devil,
thing to say.
demons who are trying to destroy the baseline morality that's inside of all of us. We're all born with some kind of morality, and they're trying to destroy it.
And that's exactly the Islamic understanding, that we believe that you're born with something called fitrah, which is the initial goodness. You're born with an innate belief, receptivity to believe in one God.
Yeah.
And then that is corrupted. In fact, there's a prophet, hadith of the Prophet where he says, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. Every born child is born upon this initial goodness. فَأَبَوَاهُ يُهَوِّدَانِهِ أَوْ يُنَصِّرَانِهِ أَوْ يُمَجِّسَانِهِ. That, and then his father and mother or his parents, they socialize him into Christianity, Judaism, Magiism. So the idea is that everyone is born with this initial goodness and this initial will or want to believe in God, one God. And then, as you mentioned, I mean, it's what you're mentioning here is profound, because you're mentioning a central doctrine in Islam.
But it's and this is why perhaps I found God the way I did, because I understood all these things first, and then I saw the Quran and it confirmed so many things for me. Like even the conversations I've been having so far, so many things have been confirmed, and it's amazing the knowledge that's inside of it, which is so applicable today. For an old book, right? It's supposed to be old, but it seems so timeless. But it's truly amazing. But you're totally right. And the baseline morality, I don't think most people understand that when they're doing this under the guise of tolerance, when they're saying be so tolerant that you no longer believe in right from wrong, they're not doing that to make society a better place. They're doing that to empty your brain so that you have no resistance to the slave mind programming. They want to get you to a point where if they tell you the sky is green, you look at
Oh shit,
your own eyes,
I copied his
you see
example.
blue, but no, the sky is green. That's what they want, so that you have to have nothing in your brain that can prevent that. If you have God, if you have, no, I believe this is right and wrong, if you have personal responsibility, if you have self-accountability, if you're a person who sticks up for what he believes, all that's bad to them. They want all of that gone so they can tell you the sky is green. And I
And you
don't
won't
want to say
be.
too much because I don't want the stream to end, but they're going to tell you something much worse than the sky is green. They're going to tell you something else. And they're trying to program us all into slaves, and it's scary.
I remember
So there is some truth to what he says. So the societal impact is very big. If, for example, you are non-smoker and you're growing a child in a society that everybody smokes in. Surprisingly, once your child hits like 12, 13, he starts seeing everybody smoking. Soon he will start smoking. If everybody is lying, you would say, okay, lying is good. Lying is not something that you should be worried about. So he starts lying. He sees everybody is having sex at age 15. Everybody starts having sex at age 15. It is based on the moral standard of a group, which is the society. And since the society does not have any moral standard, it is very bad for the younger generation, because they are free to do whatever they want. They're free to think whatever they want, whether it's right or wrong. The wrongs could be right for them because this is how they've been brought up to think, which is crazy, to be honest.
when I was in my undergraduate days, and I was reading a particular book by this guy called Jeremy Bentham, who became the spiritual forefather of J.S. Mill, who is the father of social liberalism of today. And I remember reading this because it was so powerful because it linked to something I read in the Quran. He said that, you have two gods. He said you have the God of pain and you have the God of pleasure. And I thought, this is so interesting. The Quran states, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen the one who takes his own desires as a God?
Yep.
And because now there is no transcendental force that we can look up and as you say, venerate, now we're forced
Venerate.
to be slaves to the system.
Yep.
We're to our own desires. Or, the Quran has another verse which I think is so powerful and it connects very well with what you're saying. It says, God ضرب الله مثلا رجلا, that God has struck a parable of a man. فيه شركاء متشاكسون, that he's got many
Shaksun.
different slave owners. ورجل سلما لرجل, and another kind of man who's only got one slave owner. God is basically telling us in the Quran that you've got one example of one individual who's got multiple slave owners and another one with just one. He says, هل يستويان مثلا, are they the same? So here the idea is, as Rousseau said it, he's a liberal philosopher, he said that man is born free but everywhere in chains. This is the order, because if you don't have that God to worship, then you're going to end up having to worship to everything else. And the whole part of the Shahada which you took, which is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, the true meaning of that, La ilaha illallah, is that there is no God worthy of worship except for one God.
Yep.
Which means that your desires or the system or these people that want to control us, the problem is they're not worthy of worship. The only one worthy of our subordination and submission is the creator of the heavens and the earth. There's no
100%.
I agree, and I completely agree, and I've agreed with this for the longest time. I've never been to like a music concert, and people ask me why, and I said, I just look at it and I feel embarrassed. I look at someone up on a stage dancing around, and I look at hundreds of thousands of peasants in the crowd, just yeah. I'm like, it's I feel cringe. It's like secondhand embarrassment when I see these festivals and everyone's losing their mind, or these music concerts. I genuinely feel embarrassed for the people who go, because to me that is a form of worship. Like, you can listen to the music at home for free. You don't have to wait in that line and stand out in the cold. Like, I don't know. Perhaps it was a bit extreme, but I've always known that they're trying to give us false idols to some degree. And when I speak to atheists, they go, oh, I don't believe in God. But they've signed up so hard to the liberal woke agenda. They're as religious as anybody, but they're just believing in the wrong things. They're believing in degeneracy, and they're believing in the...
I think that's weird, because I agree with everything that he says today. He did not say anything which was not on point. That's weird.
Work of the devil. So humans always need something to believe in. And it's a great thing you said about your own desires. It's like, one guy I was talking to since my conversion says, it's interesting that somebody with everything, all the Western world, everything somebody could want, has now converted. And I said, yeah, because even before my conversion, I understood that hedonism is a black hole, and you can never fill it. You're never going to be able to have enough girls to be happy with girls. You're never going to be able to have enough money to be happy with money. You're never going to be able to, drink enough to be happy with drinking. Like, it's a black hole, and you can pour endless things down it, but you'll never fill it up. And you need to have some degree of self-restraint. And I've always been a very disciplined person. I've never made mistakes. But certainly, the higher power is going to give you...
That's the first point that I don't agree with him. Everybody made mistakes. Don't tell me that you have not made mistakes. We are humans. We are sinners, to be honest. Like, even as a Muslim or whatever, I have strong belief in God. I am not 100% practicing, which is something I need to work on. But we all make mistakes. That's the human nature. We are susceptible to... what you can say, what's the word? We are susceptible to things that appeal to us, right? If I find this is intriguing or appealing, I might do it despite it's being wrong, and then think, oh, why did I do this? It's wrong. Yeah, this is a part of the human nature again.
More satisfaction in your heart than endless insanity.
Okay, so this is the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Honestly, I think it is pretty interesting stance that Mr. Andrew Tate himself have become a Muslim, right? Which might be putting Islam in a negative light or positive light. We still don't know. But a lot of people will be interested in this subject to understand what is Islam about. Like there is another, for example, Muslim sport guy, which is Habib Nurmagomedov or Nurmagomedov, the way that they call him. He is an example for Muslims to be not 100%, but he's an example, right? People find him attractive. He is very appealing in a way that he is respectful. He's humble. He's not, you can say, swayed by the money. He's not swayed by this. He loves his parents. He takes care of them. He honors his promises. All of this. But people, okay, it's him. It's not the religion. But people need to understand that all religions promote the same things. It's just like people do they take them or they don't? And in Muslim, we strongly believe in what's there in the religion, so we take it. Other religions that their religion is promoting something, and they say, "Yeah, it's just written in the book for us. We can do whatever we want." So, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and see you in the next one.